again, like I said, you know, I come off the back of that. I was born mid-80s, and I'm kind of interested in, you know, to find out more where that change came from, because when I started clubbing and going out was the early 2000s, and there wasn't a lot of that. So again, when I do go out to probably an East End venue like the Angel and they are having a cabaret night, you know, depending on who's on, I tend to not want to go and watch too much, just because I can't identify with what's happening.
I think technically there's a big thing too, which is that songs in the last 20 years don't lend themselves to be performed in a cabaret way. They're very much technically drum, bass and everything else, whereas everything, a friend of mine's doing drag now, and a little trans guy, and he said he just did a whole thing of Phil Spector music from the 60s. It was really weird because it didn't have a beat like that.
Yeah.
And so he was really like, well, yeah, what do you do in this song? It's like, you know, because it wasn't going to 170 beats a minute. But I think that's a big one. Yeah, and you see, how can it keep going if there aren't new songs put in? You can't keep on doing those same old songs. So it just moved. I think it moved.
I don't know. Do we have more shorter attention spans now? Do we?
Much less.
Have we gotten conditioned to always having something new and fast and different? Because in the 80s and the 90s, I used to love to go to drag shows, and we'd go every week to see the same performers do the same acts, and we'd all sort of sing along, and we felt like we were a part of it, you know, and it was part of the fun. It was simpler in a way, but we really wanted to hear the same act week after week after week, you know.
Karen, is there sort of drag scene in the lesbian sector?
I think there's a club called Club Whatever, and they do drag king nights, and it's sort of, I've only been once or twice a few years ago, and it's kind of much more shorter performances, and it's more performance art rather than kind of old kind of you know, show tunes or anything like that. So it is out there. There is a kind of drag king culture that I think maybe 2 years ago really come across from the States, I think. And there's a lot more drag king nights, and you've seen it on Ginger Beer, which is a lesbian website. You've seen it more advertised, and you know, I had groups of people going out. We certainly went out as a group all dressed up, and you know, we all dragged up, and that was interesting and fun. We had never done it before, and there's a lot more drag king workshops, and we had a drag king come to one of our youth groups and do a drag king workshop and getting dressed. It was really different and quite challenging. So. But I don't, you know, I think it's died down a little bit at the moment, but a few years ago it certainly was a bigger thing from what I know.
So what kind of entertainment?
It was a lot of, I'm not sure, it was all sort of performance art, short songs, short plays, you know, lots of visual art stuff at Club Whatever. So yeah, it wasn't what I know as drag, which is kind of, you know, typically show tunes and lots of banter and jokes and sauciness. Do you know what I mean? So it was a kind of a bit more serious in my mind. I thought it was more serious.
And did you go and see drag queens, for example?
Yeah, definitely. Because sometimes living in the East End, you know, if you went to a venue, it was generally more men, and generally, you know, if the actor on, it was a drag queen. So. And I can give as good as I get in those situations, so I like it. Whereas maybe other women may feel a little bit intimidated, but you know, I hang about with lots of gay men as well. So, and there used to be a pub in Walthamstow, not far from here actually. When I moved here, I went there, and it was a Sunday night, and it was I found it quite old-fashioned, and there's drag queens on in it. But I've been to Camden, the Black Cap, and you know, lots of places like that where there's performance. But yeah.
You've been to Ducky?
Yeah,
That's
Ducky's fantastic.
Actually,
yeah.
yesterday.
I went to their New Year's Eve party as cheerleaders. About 12 of us went. That was really good. So
Are you dressed up as cheerleaders?
Yeah. So that was quite good fun. But that's kind of lots of drag, performance art.
Interesting, creative things.
Very creative. So, but they haven't done anything in East London, have they? It's all South London.
Yeah,
What about you, Ed?
Oh, I loved drag queen performances. I used to work in Central Station, King's Cross, every Friday and Saturday there would be a drag artist on stage. So I worked behind the bar, got to watch the drag artist perform, and it was fantastic. Absolutely. The good thing is that they sing their own songs, whereas, correct me if I'm wrong, in the States, a lot of drag queens who tend to mime.
Yes, they do.
It's from watching that kind of perspective, looking at these people who are actually performing and exercising their vocal cords, and I could never do what they do. Get up on stage, perform to a crowd, and then not care who likes them, who doesn't, just doing what they love doing, and I take my hat off to them. I do think it is a dying, how can I say, fashion. I mean, there's the Molly Moggs in Soho that does the drag sessions now and again, and I must admit, I don't consciously go to them now. As a, on Friday night, I must go and see that person perform. I don't do that. Probably if I'm out, then great, I'll sit there. I don't mind sitting for an hour or hour and a half watching that, but I won't go out of my way to do so.
So what do you do instead?
It's very wholemeal now. It's night in front of the TV, or inviting friends around for dinner and host a dinner party, or pop to see a movie. It's strange how once you fall into a relationship, at least that's not the way I envisaged it. Well, maybe it was. Relationships for me tend to be settling down, slippers, gown, TV fire, that's it. So the real settling down kind of atmosphere, scene. But that's not how I always was. I did like going out. I did like meeting friends in a bar, chatting over a bottle of wine, and that's it. Maybe going to a club afterwards. But yes, that's what I used to do for entertainment, and what I do now is totally different. If I saw myself 10 years ago, I wouldn't recognise myself. I have changed in that 10 years.
So Brian, is that the same thing with you and Bob?
Ooh, well, no, I can only speak for myself. I think we have a big life. We go out. I love cruising. We have an open relationship, or at least I do. No, we do. We didn't meet up. We met when I was 42 and Bob was 48. We've been together for 6 years. We're both in AA, so a lot of our life is around being in Alcoholics Anonymous. We've both been in it for many, many years, so it's not about a battle against not drinking. It's about that's where we find all our friends, and so yeah, our social life is probably 3 or 4 meetings a week, and we go for meals afterwards. There'll always be a table of gay people somewhere. Wherever you go, you might be sitting next to a table of gay alcoholics having pizza. Yeah, we don't get drunk, but we have a wild time. I do crazy things, and so does Bob. I don't know, I can't really say it, and so does Bob. He does what he does, and I do what I do.
We have a good life. Being older, though, too, I don't have the desire to go out. Often going out sounds fun at 7 in the evening, but by the time 11 or 12 comes around, I just don't have the energy to go out. But I do kind of miss the old drag shows. I always admired drag queens because they were out there. They were out, their affirmation, like, I am what I am. They had the balls to be out when a lot of other people couldn't or wouldn't for whatever reason, So I've always sort of, I remember the first time I ever did drag and walked down the street in a dress. It was it felt very freeing in a way to do that.
It was a Marilyn Monroe.
It was a see-through Marilyn
Monroe. And he tells a lovely story.
I was much younger and thinner at the time.
He says, I was once walking down the Castro, he said, down Market Street in a Marilyn Monroe dress and white shoes and a wig. He said, it was the most free feeling I ever had in my life. I think that's a great thing. And there's an interesting thing, though, something I want to grab while I remember it, which is the whole HIV and AIDS thing, because I'm 48 and I came out in 1978 when I was 16, and before it happened, and so I saw it begin to happen, and I am the last of that really people of my age are the last who saw, like before the war and after the war, who saw all the old queens and all the people who didn't make it. And so they gave to me a sense of humour and a certain something that died really quick afterwards, except for the people that didn't die. And it's that kind of, oh, never mind, dear, wasn't it? Oh, it was fun. There was a whole camp kind of thing that was just, and they gave to me what wine to have at dinner, bit of gold here and there, and all that old-fashioned camp stuff that by the end of the 80s, so much of that was lost. Even passing something like Judy Garland down, you know, say, oh, you've got to get that LP, dear, she's fabulous on that, and all of that would be lost by the end of it. And it got lost quickly because so many people died of AIDS. And that was so culturally, something slid really quickly because of that disease. And that was that whole drag thing as well, doing... I mean, the reason I was a performer, biggest thing, was because I loved Judy Garland, and I can sing like Judy Garland, and I'm primarily a singer, and after years, all these old drag queens like Phil Starr and everyone would say, dear, you should do Judy Garland, you'd be marvellous. And I said, I'm only 24, I want to be, Elvis Presley for a bit. But yeah, that was. I think that's a thing worldwide, but especially in London, was that so many people were just wiped out that culturally something stopped being passed along. Yeah. And so a lot of people, like I've got young friends who don't know who Betty Davis is, and I just think, how could you be gay and not, a lot of time changes things, but sometimes if the people to hand it over aren't there, things get lost. So I'm really glad that I actually came along at the end of the 70s and had tons of what's called unsafe sex, because it was just sex then. And I could count on one hand since then how many times I've had unsafe sex, which is one of the reasons I'm still here, I'm sure. But we didn't have any idea what was coming in that decade. In 1979, we just didn't know what was coming. Right.
And were you aware of that, or were you too young?
I learned about it. Even though I was born in 1978, but I didn't live through that. I don't consider myself living through the 80s really, because I started to come about my age in the early 90s, went through secondary school, discovered I was gay, but I didn't truly appreciate this whole legacy that was laid before I was even around. It was only till I discovered the fact that I was gay, I then began to learn about my history, as it were, and then just begin to understand it wasn't just tough for me, it was tough for so many other people, and that made me not feel good about myself, but I felt a bit more calmer, I felt a bit more accepting of what I was, and it was only then that I could accept what I was, and I could tell other people what I was and what I am. So I was totally aware of the whole AIDS thing, because I remember the TV adverts when they came on TV, and just how shocking it was. But I also remember my parents not paying much attention to what was on there, so almost like it didn't affect them, because it was seen as a gay disease, so they didn't mention it. So it was difficult growing around that kind of discriminatory background.